Are you trying to make sense of the real estate market right now? Whether you're buying, selling, investing, whatever you're looking to do in the real estate market for Kelowna, we have real estate market statistics and insights on the current trends in the current real estate market. So stay tuned to the video and watch to the end because there's some interesting big government impacts that could be affecting buyer decisions. And if you can get on the opposite end of those, you can put some more money in your pocket. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Mark Coons here with Selling Kelowna Real Estate Group, and you're watching the Living in Kelowna channel, where we're going to have a new video every Thursday. And these videos are going to range from real estate market statistics, what we're having today, to community tours, property tours, and you name it. And if you do want to see any specific types of tours or any types of videos, please let me know in the comments. I'm happy to do them for you. But this week, being the first Thursday of the month, we're going to go over the real estate market statistics for June of 2024. And today we're giving you a behind the scenes look at the real estate market statistics, going through the numbers and seeing the trends on what we're looking at. So every Thursday, expect a new video coming out. Without further ado, we're going to jump right into the real estate market statistics and look to see what's happening, not only number wise, but trend wise, and where we're seeing a different change, whether it's seasonality, buyer habits, and consumer behavior, seeing what's in it so you can make sense of what's happening in the real estate market. So you making, whether you're buying, selling, investing, whatever you're looking to do, it's just going to help you make sense of the real estate market. And not all things can be explained. I mean, look at what happened in 2020. There was a crazy reduction in supply. And with that and low interest rates came huge amount of demand throughout the marketplace, sending the market into a frenzy. Now we're on the opposite end of the real estate market, where we're starting to see interest rates, they had peaked. And now we're starting to see them come down. Last month, we saw one rate decrease, and we'll see what happens on July 24th with the new next Bank of Canada rate announcement. The one thing in the real estate market is, as much as you can predict it, there's nothing, and you can look at trends in the real estate market, there's nothing you can really do to predict the market. But we will break that all down in this video, and by the end of the video, we're going to also go over the overall state of the real estate market throughout Canada, and where the overall vision and where maybe things are going to go in the future. Let's just jump right into it. So real estate market statistics, the total amount of sales was down 10% from what it was in May. We had 404 total sales in June, and that was down 10% from what we had in May of 2024. But there's more to those numbers. To see a drop of around 9.5% is not uncommon to see from May to June. As we look at the seasonality on it, which we'll explain and get into a little bit later in this video, it's not uncommon for that to happen. But the biggest issue is where we're seeing a discrepancy between the total amount of sales right now compared to what had sold back over the last 10 years. When you're looking at the 10-year average, the average sales has been 592 total sales for the month of June. And we only hit 400 total sales for the month of June in 2024, which is a huge change, a drop of 180 sales and almost 31% of the total sale volume. And this is the second least amount of total sales for the month of June in the last 10 years since June of 2022. So as we're trying to make sense of that, we're also looking at the other end of the real estate market. Now looking at the supply side of the market, we're at an all-time high, and the gap is widening between the total amount of sales and the total amount of inventory. With 3,900 active listings currently, there hasn't been this many active listings on the real estate market ever. In the last 10 years, that's as far back as our system allows us to go. Is in the last 10 years, we haven't had more than 3,900 active listings in the past. So we're hitting some opposite ends of the spectrum with record. That is 100, and we're at 1,000 more than what we normally see over the 10-year average. So normally, if you average it out on the 10 years in June, see about 2,900 active listings. Now sitting at 3,900 active listings. We're going to make sense of this a little bit more in the end of the video, but it's maybe not all that meets the eye. It's not all market driven. Some of it's politics. Some of it's a number of different factors that are all kind of coming to a head right now. And buyers really seems like they don't know how to make a decision, and sellers are kind of left holding the bag. So we're going to dig right into it. The biggest difference we saw, just also to put this in perspective, Since January, we've had 1,500 active listings, new active listings on the market come on the market. And for perspective, that is compared to June of 2022, we had an all-time high. June of 2021, we had an all-time low amount of inventory at 1,550 listings. So we've had more listings come on the market this year in 2024 than all that was on the real estate market for the entire month of June, at the end of the month of June in 2021. So that's how much more inventory has changed in the last 3 years, where we've gone from 1,500 listings in June of 2021. Now we're up 3,900 listings. All right, so now as we know the numbers, and we're going to try and make sense of it all. So we're going to look at the seasonality, because there is a seasonality to the real estate industry. You don't necessarily month over month. It's a rolling average. So you want to compare it to what it was in other months. We did compare a little bit based on the 10-year averages. Those were all for June of 2020 and all the 2024 and all the other averages that we had there. But with the seasonality and the change of what we saw and where we're coming from at the start of it is we saw a drop of 10% from May to June of 2024, but that is not uncommon because we do oftentimes see what is actually happening, and analyzing the trends, and motivations and buyer habits. June is a busy month normally anyways for any family, anybody with kids in school. Spring activities are just wrapping up, school's coming to a close, and it's a busy month. I don't know about you, but June was one of those months where the activities just never seem to stop. And all extracurricular activities, whether it be soccer, sports, and that sort of thing, all coming to a head. And now we're trying to make sense of the reality of it. People were busy and less likely to make decisions in June. And could be a chance where buyers are, especially families, are going to be looking to make a purchase now for a single family home and to move into it before the school year starts. Everybody's going to have different buying habits. Seasonally adjusting, we normally will see on the 10-year average about a 7% drop in sales from May to June. So that's a seasonal trend that we normally see over the 10-year period. We're going to see a drop of about 7% in June. Disclaimer, I did take out 2020 numbers because 2020 was an anomaly of a year. That's where we're coming out of all the restrictions that we had with us having to stay at home and that. So I took that out because we did see an uptick in activity in June of 2020 of 68%. So we had higher amount of sales, which is complete opposite of what we've been seeing in the last 7 to 10 years, where we haven't seen an uptick in June compared to May in the last 7 years, other than 2020, where we saw a 68% increase. And statistically speaking, normally on the longer, in 2024, we're about 9.5% of a drop in the marketplace. So I rounded up to 10% on everything, but true numbers is about right around 9.5%. So means we're kind of right around 2.5-3% off of seasonality of the marketplace. So we are losing a little bit of the marketplace in the real estate market for total number of sales compared to the 10-year average. However, we are seeing a trend lately. We have been seeing a trend down, and there really hasn't been a whole lot of normal in the last 5 years in the real estate market or in any market in general. There's been a lot of different anomalies happening, a little different interventions that is really shaping and changing buyer behaviors, buyer habits, and that we are seeing more of that in the real estate market right now, both federally and provincially, which we'll dive into a little bit more into the real estate market. But we have seen, if you look at the last 7 years, not including 2021, not including 2020, averaging around 80. So a drop of 13% in the last 7 years. If you look at the overall trend in sales from May to June. So buyers are getting more family friendly. We're seeing more families move to Kelowna and get around in it. And buying behaviors have changed from historically. Kelowna had been known as a retirement community where you'd pretty much, there wasn't a whole lot of work, but now with remote work and a lot of different tech sectors, and Kelowna is now on the map for a number of different provinces and people looking to live here. So we are seeing buyer habits change in the marketplace. And we are seeing the decrease in activity from June to May of that 13%. A lot of people are going to maybe not want to spend one last summer in their home. Statistically, normally people that wanted to move will normally buy in early March and to make those moves. And that's when we often see a little bit more of the market. And just to highlight how where we're seeing market changes, quarter one of 2021, we saw 16% of the buyers in quarter one of 2021 was 16% was investors, and we had 9% of buyers purchasing recreational properties. And this is all from the Association of Interior Realtors questionnaire that they do send out to all agents that had it. And there's normally about a 20 to 30% fill out rate, people that will fill it out and provide the information. So it's just a snapshot of a little segment of the market, about a third of the market, but it does give you good insight of the amount and percentage of people that are buying and what their purchases are. And seeing how those buyers' habits had changed. Right now, we're 8% investors in the real estate market, which is a drop of half. So the investment market has really essentially dropped in half. And I would argue it'd be a little bit higher in Kelowna and West Kelowna, where the prices are a little bit higher and the rents aren't really keeping up with it. We're also not seeing a lot of development properties purchased, and that's where we're going to see a little bit of a decrease in the overall purchase prices, because a lot of purchases, and with it, and we'll get into it a little bit more, but a lot of development properties numbers aren't cash flowing for future builds based on current acquisition costs and the cost of building and the cost of holding it for a few years for the build cost to kind of self-regulate. And recreational properties had dropped this year so far in 2024 to 6%. So we saw about a third drop in recreational properties for people buying it. Interest rates probably really affecting that side of things. Interest rates definitely affecting investments, but also purchase prices are just not making things cash flow for a lot of people. So it's not making a lot of sense. So as we move forward and we look and project out what's going to happen in the real estate market, nobody can predict 100%. And if we did, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation, watching this video. But if you do want to get specific market information for your own personal needs, feel free to reach out, because we do give personalized knowledge information for specifically what you're looking for and what kind of market it is. So if you're looking to see if you can get in the real estate market, maybe you're a first-time home buyer. That's where we're seeing a lot of people currently buying in this marketplace are first-time home buyers getting into the marketplace. But if you do have a home, we have to attack every situation a little bit different and work on a strategized and individual plan for you. But as we move into what's going to happen in the real estate market, Canada, I keep coming back to the immigration to Canada. Canada is bringing in roughly around 2 million people this year, on target for 2 million people in 2024. And so when we're bringing in 2 million people into the country, we're going to be well over 40 million people. And the significant amount of growth, I mean, if you look at the big city centers like Toronto, Vancouver, there's a lot of homeless situations and a lot of bad situations happening right now. And it's not due to the immigrants, but it's due to people having tougher times, and finding housing is tough. So the homeless is increasing. Whether or not the people will do it, the supply has not increased directly. So houses are becoming more and more in demand. We are not keeping up with current building permits. We're not keeping up with 2022 building permits. And we're continuing to bring in more and more people into Canada without increasing the overall supply. That is causing a big strain on the housing market, which, in my opinion, is going to continue to either make the house prices go up, or, it's going to find that stalemate. And, it's tough to know where things will go. But if people want it bad enough and want to live in a single family home, they're going to be fighting over less amount of supply. Oftentimes will increase the overall price point. And I'm not talking in the short term. In the next year or two, there could be definitely a change, but that is more of a long-term vision. What I see and feel will be happening in the real estate market throughout Canada is there's going to be an added pressure for the houses, and prices are going to continue to go up. And when you're looking at it, building permits are down. I mean, the government's trying to make target and try and hit some targets, but we haven't been able to hit 2022 targets, and the supply is going down. In Kelowna right now, development is down, and we're not even close to. The provincial government has mandated Kelowna builds 8,700 residential units in the next 5 years. And as we strive to hit that amount, on the development side of the marketplace, the numbers just don't make sense currently. Even if you go to a purpose-built rental, which a lot of buyers of these investment properties and a lot of the builders have gone to, because the resale numbers just don't cash flow and doesn't make sense on the resale market. The numbers on the rent side of things, especially with a little bit of a softening, we are seeing people, because of Kelowna is historically a higher cost of living, we're seeing some workers move out of Kelowna and a little bit higher vacancy rate hit the marketplace. Again, I think that's a short-term target that is not necessarily going to be a long-term issue, but it is just something, a little nuance in the current real estate market that we're experiencing. And in the next couple of years, I don't envision total supply really to increase drastically, even though despite all the government intervention and trying what they've been trying. Also impacting the real estate market, and where we're going to see a little difference shy in the inventory, is short-term rental restrictions. There's a huge short-term rental restrictions, increasing the overall apartment, doubling essentially the overall inventory on the apartment side of things from where we were. And also small-scale multi-unit housing is now really kind of blanketed a lot of development opportunities across the board for future development. And I'm very pro-development, but we are seeing taking certain homes, and it's taking the premium away from other homes, which is essentially bringing down the overall prices of what used to be a development property, and now going to bring down those prices in the next couple of years. But we haven't seen it because sellers are often not going to sell unless they feel like it's worthy. And with house prices the way they are, if they need to buy as well, it's tough to know exactly where they go and what factors will make sense. So as we look at the real estate market statistics, those are just indications of what we're seeing in the real estate market. If you do have questions, anything I can do for you, reach out. I have your back.